present, so you would need a, oh,
I just heard a door.
never mind.
I'm breathing. Thank you. We're doing great.
All right.
Yes, absolutely. Unrelated.
Let me know when you're ready. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and, Karen, are we ready? Okay. We're going to go ahead and open the meeting, the Thursday, April 7th, Design Review Board meeting. Tim, are there any announcements for today? Okay. No announcements. We'll move right to item 1, approval of the February 3rd and March 3rd DRB minutes. Do these need to be in separate motions? Okay. Is there any issue with taking them as one?
No.
One motion, okay. So we'll do them in one motion, the February 3rd and March 3rd DRB minutes for approval. Has everybody had a chance to review those or questions?
Well, I haven't been here in 2 months, so
Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve,
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, passes. And then Tim, I believe that brings us to items 2 and 3.
Good afternoon, Tim Brown with Planning and Development. Doesn't appear that he's here tonight, but the first item is the color deviation. This is a scenic corridor deviation application submitted by Alex Helm. He's on his way. He's asking if we can
My name's
come
Seth
come
Galloway.
come back.
I'm
to
here
it.
with Alex. He's just in traffic.
Gotcha.
Switch or with someone else until he gets here.
Does anyone want to make a motion that we move items 2 and 3 to the end of the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second. Any public comment or concern? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so item 2 and 3 will be moved to the end of the agenda. All right, so number 4, Kicks Martial Art Building Sign.
Yes, thank you. This is a scenic corridor sign application submitted by Vintage Sign and Light on behalf of Kicks Martial Arts, requesting approval of a building sign measuring 26 inches by 192 inches for a total of 34.67 square feet on 4.34 acres with a future land use of mixed use and a zoning of village mixed use. Property is located in District 5. So this sign is in compliance. I'd ask the staff report be entered into the record, and I'll entertain any questions you may have.
So noted on the staff report.
So let me just elaborate. Yes. So these people are basically switching places. Hicks is moving into where Impulse Church was, and Impulse Church is expanding to 3 units.
So that's item number 5. the-
Yes, so it's 2 different applications, 2 different signs, but inside this shopping center, which is, of course, Santa Rosa Plaza, one of the few that does not have a master sign plan. They're switching places. So obviously, we require them to go through this board to get them approved. But I wanted to point out that they're in the same shopping center and they're somewhat related to one another.
Is it a reuse of the existing sign being shifted over?
Is it this? Yes. And Kim is here, the applicant is here.
Thank you, Tim. Kim, is there anything you wanted to add? Okay. Nothing to add there. Is there any questions that we have of either Kim or of Tim? Or any discussion?
Well, this is a little bit, not applicable to this particular sign, but I can't help but ask, in the final, photograph, it shows a sign on the window. Is that, there? Is it real? Is it
Tim, do you know that answer to that question?
Don't know the answer to the first part, but the second part is no, it's not compliant. It wasn't part of this request, so I didn't bring it up, but it's not compliant.
And is this final, this is just a technical question, is this final picture in the packet where it exists today, or is this what it's going to look like once they swap locations? Is this the new location?
Kim, if you'll come up so we can get you on the microphone.
Well, I'm not sure. It's the final page in the agenda packet for us, and it's a picture of just this bay.
Pitch roof.
Trying to see if there's an indicator of a page.
Can I show you something?
Yes, please.
That's the one I'm looking at.
And the graphics on martial arts.
Oh, I see. Is that kind of, the paint's knocked off?
I'm gonna
Okay.
need you to repeat that one in the microphone if you don't mind.
Graphics on the martial arts channel letters have been repaired. They're all worn off in this picture. As a matter of fact, you guys should have this one.
So
Still prior to being moved.
to answer the question, the one that we have in our packet is the existing location or the new
You
location?
have both. That's the existing. These are the new.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I think this one that I'm talking about.
Yes,
is
that's the new location. That's correct. Okay.
Is it already there, or is this photoshopped or whatever?
They've not been moved.
Superimposed. Okay. Is that logo gonna be repainted?
It's been done.
Oh, the logo has two. I thought you said just the letters. Okay.
Oh. I'm not sure.
It's got the red knocked off of it like the letters do. Okay, so that's what it looks like today. Great.
Any other questions of our applicant? Okay. Is there anyone from the audience that wants to speak on this one? All right, seeing none.
So I don't have a problem with this sign, but is it appropriate to ask, not as part of this approval, but just as a good neighbor, that illegal sign on the window be removed?
Well, I expect since they're changing locations and they're gonna have to remove that existing anyway, and that they shouldn't be,
It's just shown here like it's going to be in the new location, so.
I think it may already be there.
okay.
Was it temporary because they didn't have the sign over there yet? I mean,
I'm guessing the.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't do it.
Okay,
That would be a good guess, I think.
We could make it a condition of the approval.
So
Hey,
that's
don't
okay.
make me responsible for theirs.
Well, you're not, they are, you're just their rep.
Also,
that's the much more pleasant option, I think, than a code
Yes.
case.
Staff report into the record.
Oh,
I have a check mark by my staff report box. So we should, yeah, that's okay. Thank you. So I think that's a reasonable request.
so since I brought it up, I'll make the motion to approve with the condition that the window sign is either taken off or not moved and applied if it's not already there. That catches all possibilities. Code complaint.
Any other questions or discussion? Anyone care to make a?
I fully agree that the sticker is a lot. It looks like a sticker in the picture, but if you go to say page 26 and zoom in, I mean, you could signage apart on this entire complex.
Well, you could do it across
yeah.
a lot of places, yeah.
Worse. Yeah, and unfortunately, without a master sign plan and without them coming back in and collectively agreeing to bring in things into compliance, it's just as we get the individual units.
If I may,
Yes, Kim?
protest, I don't think it's right to hold us accountable for another vendor's, for me to have to be the one to deliver that message.
Noted.
I mean, the other option is we approve it and then there's a complaint coming from this board, a code issue, which is the same thing to the client in the end.
Well, it opens up a code complaint case that they have to resolve. And
Same end result
Same end
possibly, but
result.
So it's actually in
more
their
painful.
best interest though to just take it down to allow you to put your sign up because they don't have to come back to this board as a applicant.
Fair enough.
unless they want to come and try to seek a variance to allow the sign, which would be the other option that they could choose at that point.
I can't speak for them.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor. Do we need it repeated? Does anyone have a?
I'll second it.
We have a motion to approve with the condition that the the sticker sign on the window is removed with the installation of the building sign, or resolved through an appropriate permit process, I think is, should we amend it to include the option, or? Well, I mean,
That's always an
Why don't I
option.
just upload a picture? We'll install the channel letters, figure out a way to pull the thing off, send Tim a picture, and y'all have it.
I trust staff to handle that at that point. It doesn't
Yeah.
need to come back to us.
Yeah. So without amending the, are we amending? I mean, if we amend, we have to agree to an amended,
I'm okay with that. I think it's kind of implied, but I'm fine with adding it.
but everybody else okay with amending the condition? That they could either satisfy with removal or seeking to permit it?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
So amended condition, we have a second, we still have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
Thank you.
And item number 5, Tim?
Yes, thank you. Impulse Church building sign. This is a scenic corridor sign application submitted by Vintage Sign and Light on behalf of Impulse Church. Requesting approval of building sign measuring 36 inches by 204 inches for a total of 51 square feet on 4.34 acres, which are future land use of mixed use and a zoning of village mixed use. Property is located in District 5, Santa Rosa Plaza. This sign is also in compliance, and they're centering it over their 3 bays. And you have to ask Kim, but I assume they're reusing the existing sign as well. Oh, and I'd like to enter the staff report into the record, please.
So noted. So, Tim, can you help me with the exhibits that we have in here for where or is this perhaps better for Tim? What we have existing today and where we're moving the sign? 'Cause I see both, I believe what I see is both locations, but I'm not 100% sure I understand
Yeah,
where the 3 bays are.
Kim would be better to
Okay.
answer that.
Thank you, Tim. Kim? So today, it is in the center of one of the pitched bays, is that correct?
Sign is here currently.
So that is page 130 of 158 of our packet for the existing. And so the proposed is to go, and that's centered over 3 bays,
There are 3 bays here. The martial arts will move here.
Not
so
centered.
it's not centered.
Come in. As in your specs and dimensions drawings.
Is there a reason they're not centering it?
Sorry, you'll need to come up to the podium and introduce yourself and speak into the microphone, please.
My name is Brittany Sutton. I was working on this project with our company. We originally had it centered in that center bay, but they just requested the customer that they would like it on the end unit. I think that's because that's where their main office is going to be possibly. So that way it would direct people to go right to that side.
I get it, but
So when you're looking at the full picture, there will be one sign, an empty triangular area, and then another empty bay.
Unless at some point in the future, they're trying to put something else up there, but I can't confirm that.
And was the intention of including the photograph of the ProHealth to demonstrate precedent? Was that?
Yes, the Tim had just requested that we, send in other signs on the property to show the different, the similar styles of channel letters and things to be consistent with what else was on property.
I don't think ProHealth has all of the bays in that building, though, do they? I think that they're just on the,
Yeah, they're the one by themselves. I don't
Yeah,
think I printed that one.
it's been a while since I've been in there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. I'd have to go grab my phone to double check and look at all the pictures that I had for it.
so this is just their offices. These 3 bays.
I think it's their whole.
Oh, yes, sir.
In my opinion, the sign was sized the first time for one of the parapets. And it looks better, in my opinion, to be on the parapet. And if they own 3 bays, it makes more sense to have it in the middle.
I agree.
100% agree.
And if they were trying to put something else in the parapet, they,
You'd think it would be with this, yeah, not
because of the
without a,
sign,
yeah.
so they wouldn't be able to do something else there. And really, I would think wayfinding or directional signage would need to be back down at eye level, within the arcade, not up there. So my opinion would be that it needs to stay centered in their space on that gable, just for that building to look complete going across there, especially since the martial arts is moving to the other gable. It kind of really balances that.
Yeah, I agree. Okay.
Well, and
Is there anyone here from the audience that wants to speak on this one? All right, seeing none. And Kim, you said this was a reuse of the existing sign. That's correct. Okay.
And that's what the code says now. I guess I didn't realize they had moved it over, but the code says you center it on the number of bays. So obviously you can make that also a condition of your approval.
I'm fine with the sign. I would definitely just make it a condition, so.
Do you want to make that a condition?
I would, I'm happy to, should I make it, is it time for a motion?
It is time for a motion.
Motion to approve with the sign being relocated to the center bay on the raised parapet portion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you very much. That brings us to item number 6, Autos Car Wash.
Yes, thank you. This was previously approved by this board, but before the DO inspector gave the final sign-off, we wanted to make sure everything, all our ducks in a row were in a row. And we realized that the awnings or coverings for the vacuums and the pay building, where you pay for your car wash, was not included in the documentation you received for that approval. You approved the landscape plan, you approved the existing building, but there was an architectural, which is in your packet now, there's an architectural site plan that was not included. It wasn't in Citizen Serve, it wasn't an insert, so this board never saw that. And the blurb I've got there is the exact blurb we used last time. This is a major development or application submitted by JP Engineering requesting approval to construct a 4,886 square foot car wash on 2.37 acres with a future land use of mixed use and a zoning of village mixed use. It's located in District 4. So what you're approving tonight is those two items that were not previous, because everything else is the same. It's built, they're open, we allowed them to open with this being approved. So it's a conditional final approval from the DO inspector. So you're looking at the vacuum covers and you're looking at the pay, the little pay building. And with that, I would ask the staff report be entered into the record, and the applicant is here to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. So noted on the staff report. Applicant, yeah.
Hello, Board. Matthew Parker, JP Engineering, agent to the owner. I'm really just here to answer any questions that you may have. I don't know if you've seen the facility. It's amazing, top-notch. My opinion, it's probably the nicest car wash in the country, and we're proud to have it here. It's been wildly successful already. A lot of good feedback on Facebook for the service that the business is providing to the community. And if you drive by there, the installation, the architectural features, the colors, all also attributable to the board that previously approved this project, to you and the architect that did it. I think it's a amazing facility, so hopefully you've seen it and agree with me. So we're here just to answer any questions that you might have.
All right. Thank you. Does anyone from the audience want to speak on this one? All right, seeing none. Any comments or discussions? Did everyone see this one the first time it came through? Okay, I didn't think you guys were on this one at that point.
No, but I mean, my thing is, they all have canopies on them.
Right,
And I do think it's a great looking building.
it is.
It is.
I mean,
Um,
it's,
It was a great site plan
from a
as
whole
well.
site planning standpoint, I think it turned out great, so.
It's interesting that we didn't catch that because we did discuss the signage in detail. And
And the signage came back recently for the pay, right?
yeah,
I mean, just a couple months ago.
so it's funny that that was left out of that. So the architectural rendering, the 3D rendering that we see in our packet, was that included in our original? It just wasn't shown on the site plans?
No,
was not at
that's
all?
a new rendering, but the one that says architectural site plan, which shows the coverings,
Right.
that was not included. And it wasn't in our system anywhere. It wasn't uploaded to Citizen Serve. We didn't have it.
What's the page of the rendering you're talking about that?
It is 154 of 158. It's the only color rendering in the packet that shows a three-dimensional view looking through the vacuum area to the building.
I did want some clarification since we're on this item. There was a condition about the monument sign, it being lit up at night.
So it was about the color of blue, just for somebody to put eyes on it, because we were concerned that it would look neon instead of kind of a light glow. It's a reverse channel.
So do you want a picture? I mean, I'm just,
We're happy if staff can look at that. It doesn't necessarily need to come back as long as it's not an electric blue color.
okay,
and,
because
you know, looks
they're
like a neon
either,
sign.
they've either installed it or they're getting ready to install it. That's why I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I think that was the only thing, is we just wanted to verify that that did, as represented to us, was the backlit glow and not kind of a neon appearance.
Yeah, I'll go by there and check it out.
I do have a quick question. I happened to see this the other day. I don't know what you call the things, that the arms that face 98 in front of the pay. I don't have any questions about the vacuum thing. They do have something printed across the front of them. I didn't have time to focus on it enough while I was driving to see what it was, but was that part of the signage package that we
Not that I recall.
saw?
I don't believe so.
I'm just wondering if,
Because we did the building signs, because I think there's two, because it's on a corner. We did the monument sign, and then they came back for those, they're not directionals, but the pay,
Menu,
where you,
yeah.
menu for the type of car wash you're purchasing.
Was it a clearance, like a clearance?
well, they're low.
Oh,
Like, and you should be driving out of there, but they're on the side that faces 98.
mhm.
So and like I said, I wish I could have stopped and figured out what they said, but I couldn't. Maybe the applicant's rep knows what those say.
Matt, do you
What do you
happen to
call
know
those?
that?
Are they stop bars or,
The gate arm, right? So what you're talking about,
Yeah,
after you
yeah,
pay, it
gate
goes
arm.
up and you go through.
yes, yes, yes,
The
yes.
gate arm, my understanding, there is some printing on the gate arm, but it's on the opposite side of 98. And it says membership lane. And then there's one other one on one of the gate arms, like welcome. One of them says welcome, and then one of them says member lane, because they've got a membership program,
Oh, yeah.
pay a certain amount, and so you kind of,
Versus
if you're
paying
going
daily
into
or per.
Sandestin or whatever, you know, you've got the membership lane and the guest lane. It's kind of like that. So one says welcome, one says membership lane. On the 98 side, to my knowledge, there's no lettering on the 98 side.
Is that what you think you
I
saw?
think I saw.
And there's something else that I, in my opening, failed to present. There was a member of the public that gave me a call, and I told him that I would relay his concerns to the board. He was concerned at the intersection of 98 and that side road, is on Bishop Tolbert?
Don Bishop.
I get him confused sometimes. Don Bishop, that there needs to be a light there. Of course, I told him that was beyond the scope of our project, and then he had some concern about where we moved our connection on Don Bishop, because we moved it as far north away from 98 as we could. I said, oh, that was already previously proved. That's not what's up. And I said, we're here today to talk about the canopies. And he says, well, of course, everybody needs a canopy. They don't need to stand out in the sun. And I was like, whew, okay. But anyway, I represented to him I would relay his thoughts, and so I wanted to follow through on that. But back to your arm thing, there's no printing on the 98 side.
All right. I'll look again at some point just to, I think, prove myself I'm not losing my mind. But I'm good with the issues at hand.
Now, we wouldn't consider that to be advertising, if that's what it says.
I don't know what it said. If it even said anything, I might have just glanced over and seen something else, but I'll check. Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? Does anyone care to make a motion? Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion.
And I
carries.
just will say a word of appreciation to staff for bringing this back to us.
Thank you very much. So I believe that brings us back to items 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And as separate items,
We'll do these together, but
together.
vote separately. So the first item is the deviation. So this is a scenic corridor deviation application submitted by Alex Helm, requesting approval of a color deviation for awnings on the existing building on 4 acres with the future land use of mixed use and a zoning category of village mixed use. Project's located in District 5, and it's in the same shopping center, Santa Rosa Plaza. And in this case, they're requesting red awnings. The second one is the less than minor to get it to this board. This is a less than minor application submitted by Alex Helm requesting approval for an exterior modifications to switch out the awnings on the existing building on 4 acres with the future land use of mixed use and a zoning of village mixed use. Project's located in District 5. There's 2 awnings, one over the entrance and there's one over a window. So with that, I'd like to enter both staff reports into the record,
So noted.
and we'll vote, separately on these. And the applicant is here.
And both of the awnings were existing and the same color green as the roof material prior to the change. So
Yes.
there's not an addition of anything new, a new element. It's
No,
just-
they're switching out green awnings for red awnings.
And there was no change to the structure at the entrance, just the awning itself.
That's my understanding, because you can see from the one picture, the frame without the awning, so it certainly appears they just took off the green canvas and put on the red canvas.
Excuse me. Thank you, Tim. The applicant is here if he wants to come up and.
How you guys doing? Hope y'all are having a good day. Sorry for being a little late. I got caught in a little traffic. So my name's Alex Helm. I represent Thai Chiang Rai Restaurant. It's owned by an Asian-owned woman from Chiang Rai, Thailand. That's where the name comes from, Thai Chiang Rai. So she asked me to help her with this restaurant, and so I did. About a year ago, when she first signed the lease, it had this green awning. So I brought a piece of the fabric, so if y'all want to pass around and take a look at it. That was initially on there. She didn't know that there was a process to get change out the color of the awning. She reached out to the landlord who supported her and said, as long as you are just changing out the color of the awning using the same fabric, and going with, something that is in line with the 98 corridor and also with your sign and things like that. If you look at her sign, it does say Thai Chiang Rai, and the word Thai is in red. And so she picked that color to match that entryway, to match her sign. And so that's where it's called Red Sea T11.60. Here's that, if y'all want to pass that around as well, so you can kind of see what she did. So basically, she got the landlord to, they signed off on it. Matter of fact, they wrote a letter. Y'all should have hopefully a copy of that letter in your packet stating what, that they approved the change out. Like I said, she didn't know that she had to go through this process, so she was notified, obviously, by code enforcement that anytime you change out an awning color, even that you do have to have a less than minor and go through this packet. So she asked me to do that. So we did drive down 98, and she did see, she said, obviously there's a few other red awnings on the street, from Applebee's to Carrabba's and things like that. And she thought it was in line with everything. And so she's asking for, obviously, just the approval for to change out the awning, which is what's happened here. And then also for the color deviation, which is to change it to that, what they call Red Sea, I think it is. And the awning will fade over time, so it'll be more of a pinkish over the next probably 3 to 5 years. So we will have to change it out again at some point. And as it gets to that lighter pinkish, I guess, color, I know that those are some of I did look at the color wheel and see some of the colors that were approved. We didn't know if that particular color was on there, because there is some reds, it looks like they're on the approved list, and so we don't know the exact number, but, so I'm happy to answer any questions for her and give y'all any feedback. We've had a lot of positive feedback from the community saying that they really liked it, and that they, enjoy walking on. We have a little red carpet mat, so they kind of feel like they're walking down the red carpet when they come into the restaurant to Tai Sing Rai. And so that's kind of the feedback there that we've had. But we believe it's in line with the shopping center, and the owner does as well, the owners of the shopping center, and they've supported us in that. And so we'd like to have y'all's approval today for that.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Helm while he's up here, or anyone else from the audience want to speak? Okay, seeing none. Discussion.
Paint a lot of this building when she took it over.
No, she didn't do any of the painting on the building. The building was already that color. Whenever she took it over, when she signed the lease, they're going to repaint the whole building. The strip center is planning on repainting the whole building, so you'll probably get something in the next few months from the current landlord, because they came out there actually this past week saying that they wanted just to touch it up some and make it look a little bit cleaner. And they're also, I think they're going to do some landscaping stuff to the front. So they're going to be planting some new palms, and they're going to be redoing the front entranceway of the building and some of the front Santa Rosa Plaza side. So that's in their plans. So only thing she did was on the interior, she just painted the interior of the restaurant white. I do know that. And then she changed some of the lighting on the inside of the restaurant to LED bulbs, like some of these square lights that you have here. So she just, I think these are LED. She just changed those out to white. So that's what she did on the interior, I know. She didn't do anything else. And like I said, she's got a great story. She just actually became a U.S. citizen 2 years ago. Her dream was to come to the United States and be a job creator, not a job taker. And so now she employs 15 people. So it's kind of this was her dream. She took her whole life savings actually and put it into this restaurant, which I told her was a huge risk, but that's what she wanted to do. And she's been highly successful. So I'm blessed to know her and blessed to, help her. But I just want to let you know a little bit about her story. She's only 31 years old for a woman-owned Asian business owner in this community. So it's kind of exciting. And all of her recipes, matter of fact, some of her recipes have been in her family for 4 and 5 generations. So if y'all have never stopped by there, I'd highly recommend you come by and try it. We got some great, she has some great Thai food and does some unique dishes. So.
Thank you. Tim, I don't think the photograph that we had last time of the existing conditions is in the packet. I don't know if anybody else, I saw it in the packet last time. I don't think I saw it this time. It was a Google drive-by.
I didn't create the package, but I thought everything was in there that we had last time. Certainly that was the intent.
And I might just be missing it if I possibly am missing it with the green awning, how it was previous. It was definitely in the packet last time because we talked about it, or I mentioned it, but it was not, I don't see it in this one.
Both agenda item packet materials?
Maybe.
Sometimes they're a little different between, when we have two agenda
Yeah,
items.
because I think the ones you're referring to, we got off of Google Earth, because
Right,
you
you
can
did,
see
yeah.
the one over the entrance, you can see the frame where the canvas has been removed, and they haven't put the new one on yet. I don't know
And-
why that wouldn't have been.
You could see the original, when we approved the signage for the restaurant last year, you could see the tattered awning in that
What I'm
picture.
thinking, remembering.
But we had gotten a Google drive-by image of the shopping center showing the green. But it's the only fabric awning in the shopping center. The rest of it is just the traditional green roof, and I think there's one bay or another restaurant that has a patio that same metal roof is extended over. And everything else is all consistent amongst the buildings in the shopping center.
Well, it looks like you're right. I'm not sure why it wasn't included,
Let me
but
look and see if it's in our printed folder.
you can, if you can access Citizen Serve, it'll be in last
Yeah,
month's.
it was definitely in last month.
Yeah, I do remember it.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be here. I don't know if I didn't print it out or what happened with that, because I copied everything that was in that folder into this month's folder. Because we had two Google Earth photos from different angles, so you could see the whole frontage of that
Much
unit.
better presentation of the building frontage too.
Yeah, the reason I was asking about painting of the applicant was when it was Cristiano's, they had gone in and painted all that, where they infilled that bay. Do you remember it was green? And it looked horrible. It looks a lot better now that they've painted it the building color.
Got it. She might have had a contractor, whoever, the landlord, and done that, but we did ask for, or she did ask for a new back door. I know that. I don't remember what else she asked for improvements on the building. But I know she did ask for a new back door on the building, as far as like things that would be on the exterior. She didn't mention any other things to me. I can ask her about that.
Like one concern that I have though, is that this landlord clearly lets their tenants do stuff to the exterior of these units. Like when that bay was built out at Cristiano's restaurant, I mean, the construction was not good. I mean, then that's being nice.
Yeah.
And it was painted a dark green to match the awnings. That the tenant as a whole needs to control their entire development.
Got it.
Sorry, the landlord, not the tenant.
Landlord,
The
yeah.
landlord needs to do a better job of that. So if we were to say they could have a red awning, are they gonna tell the next person they can have a purple awning and the next person have an orange awning? You know, like,
Yeah.
where is that landlord gonna come up with something that fits their development that they're consistent with?
Yeah. So I talked to Hazel about that, and she said, you're going to be the reason they're allowing the red for this one is because it's consistent with the sign, and it's also consistent with the other awnings that they've seen on 98. So that was the only reason. They don't want to do any other colors along in that strip center that are not consistent with the 98 corridor and what the other awnings are in the area. So she had to show the justification that there was other red awnings and other, I guess you would say, like even the gas station, the Tom Thumb has a red canopy. You know, she showed obviously there's other red buildings as well, like the Old Ace Hardware. That's
And just
red.
as a.
I mean, I'm just telling you what she
Those
did.
are all standalone buildings. They're not
Correct.
part of shopping centers.
Correct. You're right. You're right.
I think some of those might have been grandfathered.
And I'm sure. Some,
Yeah.
some
So
of
she
them are.
knows. But I'm just showing you what she did, and so
And to your point, we don't restrict color on signage. So someone could come in with a purple sign and it would also match, or a
got it.
bright yellow and.
Probably got them.
Yeah, so there's.
as far as I know, Hazel's told us that she didn't want to do any other color modifications on the building. She said the only thing that they are planning on doing is obviously playing some more landscape in the front. And if they repaint the building, it'll be the exact same color as it is currently today. So all the colors are pretty much set for that building, going forward. So
As they're currently set today.
Correct. As they currently are, as what they would look like right now. That's the feedback we got from Hazel and the owners of the building. They actually live in Atlanta. So,
The challenge that I see here is not only one of just kind of the precedent here, but, a lot of the code for the corridor talks about not drawing attention, not using signage to draw attention, not using lighting,
Correct.
different elements to distract or kind of take away from the
Correct.
overall. And especially since it's part of a shopping center that already has a very strong color scheme, it does concern me that it is so different.
drawing attention, got it.
I mean, the signage looks great, there's no issue at all there, I think we were real pleased with that one when it was brought to us. But, I know that the awnings were in poor repair, just from looking at the photographs of when we approved that sign. But it wasn't the expectation that those awnings would be replaced with a color that wasn't exactly what was already there and wasn't
Got it.
already matching all of the metal roof structure.
She didn't, she wasn't doing it to draw attention, to be honest with you. I mean, she was doing it simply on the fact that she believed it went with the 98 corridor because of other awnings. And she also said she did it for the reason that it matched her sign. So those were what she relayed to me. She said those are the reason that color was picked out. And then, like I said, she did go to the landlord specifically to ask if that was okay. And the landlord, yes, you're more than welcome to put those on because they do need to be fixed and repaired. So
That's where I go. I feel
Yeah,
like the
I
landlord,
understand.
in this case, did the tenant a disservice because
agree.
the landlord,
Should have
I mean,
known.
that big of a development should be familiar with this, or their management company. Someone needs to be
agree.
familiar that's guiding her before this kind of stuff is
Yeah.
purchased.
Especially if they're intending on doing landscaping and painting revisions themselves.
Yeah, she spent. I know she spent over $3,000. I think it was $3,500, $3,700 on this. So I know it wasn't a cheap something easy.
And that's unfortunate that.
Yeah. So I mean, I know she would like to keep everything the same, like I said, but I know it's ultimately up to you guys' decision and whatever you guys decide. But that's what she's asking for today, and she's just asked me to help relay that information. So
Want to have any questions of Mr. Helm before we start discussions? Okay. All right. Thank you.
all right.
I agree with everything you said, Kelly, and I also do know that we've worked with other applicants on awning colors that wanted
Something a
Something
little bit different.
different and didn't go there. So if you look at a lot of the newer buildings that have awnings, they're not going to look like the other examples in here. And I personally, also think that green awnings nice ones that are well kept, not tattered and torn, would look great on this building too, and might even make the signage pop more because it won't detract from the sign. But I do have a hard time thinking about supporting the deviation. My thing's going in and out. Is it? I don't know why.
We've closed the public discussion, but you're welcome to come up and talk. Yeah.
My name's Seth Galloway.
Just make sure you get it all in the
Yeah,
microphone.
my name's Seth Galloway. I'm a local attorney here. And I first met Alex in his restaurant. We had a birthday party for some snowbirds there. And I went there one time to eat and subsequently been there about 15 times in about less than 2 months. It's a beautiful restaurant. I respectfully disagree. I think the red awnings, the darker red, I noticed that when I went there the first time that just had a nice ambiance, and the contrast between the roof and the awnings and coupled with the red on the sign. I went by and looked at it the other day after we discussed this issue, and it looks good. I mean, I think you're gonna be hard pressed to find, I do construction law, find an exact green matching that metal roof. So I think it looks good, and it's a great new up and coming restaurant. And I think it'd be a shame to have a young successful businesswoman have to come out of pocket for something like that. That's it.
Clarify, I didn't say it looked bad. I don't think it looks bad. I think the green would be just as good, but, and I think it would be more in keeping with the intent of the code if it were green.
And, I applaud the restaurant owner. I mean, I think that it's fantastic. I don't think anybody here is discouraging of the restaurant itself, the business, or the applicant. The task that we have, which is very narrow and limited to the aesthetic of the corridor and kind of maintaining where we can the intent of our design guidelines. And so it is a lot bolder and a lot stronger of a statement that we would typically accept. If, she'd come to us before the awning was up, we would probably be having the same discussion, that it's just, it's not necessarily a reflection of it being a code case at this point. It's just that it's such a bold statement for an existing shopping center that doesn't have any other awnings or, all of the other accessory pieces, the other restaurant, it's an extension of that metal roof. So it just feels difficult to approve it from my perspective, just because of all of that. Not necessarily that we couldn't approve something that wasn't the same color green, if you feel like that's gonna be a challenge to replace what was there, if she wants to replace it with something else. But I think, Lee's right, we've worked with a lot of the newer establishments, to find something that works for them and works for us, along the corridor, and I can't think of one that's red, that we've kind of worked through or worked with, the applicant on.
I would add to that some of these comparison pictures of other places, I'd love to see them change. If they ever came before this board for a change of use or something, or a major renovation, they would probably, that would be my vote.
And it also, as I mentioned before, all those example photographs are standalone buildings. They're not part of shopping centers where there's consistency architecturally and stylistically amongst the units. And that's a big challenge for us, especially in shopping centers that don't have master signage plans, or landlords that are observant of that.
I mean, because a development of this size, they need to maintain that consistency, or else it's gonna look just cut up, and it's gonna look worn out over time. Thing is, we, as a board, we work under the code that's given to us. And the code is trying to do away with a lot of these bolder colors. If you look at an old Tom Thumb that's been grandfathered in versus the new ones getting built, that big red band on the gas stations, they're trying to do away with that. And that was, the code was written, and that's the code that we have to work under, which is trying to get away from really strong colors that grab attention, that try to pull you. And really, I mean, this by itself would look fine, but what we have to consider, that this is a larger development. And what if the person 2 doors down comes next week? How would I, if I had just approved a red awning, what do I have, as a board member sitting up here voting, I have to look at that. His ultimate goal is kind of consistency in these larger developments. Honestly, I still think, if this tenant, if there are going to be awnings in here, the landlord, they need to have a master color plan for these tenants to work with.
And she's the only awning that's on that shopping center. The rest, the other projection is the metal roof. So it makes it a little bit more difficult, if the landlord's not going to be involved to establish something.
And I'd say too, just personally, I sympathize very much with this business owner, and I wish that the landlord had handled it differently.
I agree with what you guys have said. I mean, it just needs to be consistent, and it's not, so.
So if, for kind of housekeeping purposes, we'll have to have 2 separate motions. A motion for the color deviation, and then a motion for the replacement of the awnings with a different awning. So they are technically tied together. I mean, they're basically the same type of request, but it is 2 separate motions. So we'll have to have 2 separate motions and 2 separate votes.
I'll make a motion to deny agenda item number 2.
Okay, we have a motion to deny. Does anyone have a second?
That's the color itself, correct?
That's the color.
The color deviation.
deviation.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item number 2 is denied. So Tim, oh, sorry, all opposed? And none. Thank you, Tim. So item number 2,
Bless you.
for item number 3, how do you, is that an automatic?
No, I mean, you can still approve it with the condition of whatever awning you want them to put it on. I mean, you have the choice of either denying it and having them start all over, bring you something you can approve, or you can approve it with a condition. I mean, the latter might be better because you're seeing it up front and saying, yeah, we like this, we're going to approve this, but either way is acceptable.
Okay.
Or the former, I should say.
If we're gonna go that route, do we need to discuss as a board colors that would be acceptable and include that in the,
Well, nothing's been presented to us.
I know, I'm a little
And so-
confused. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's what I mean, the former is probably the best route to go, but you have the option of either.
To
The
me, it
bottom
feels
line
like
is-
if you're replacing it with the exact same thing, which is the only other option that we've had presented, is, what the existing was, then.
The green.
Green, then that shouldn't even come to us as a less than minor, because you're just repairing something that is existing on a structure.
Exactly as it is.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean,
I would
typically
allow
any,
that, or even if they match the building color,
Mhm.
would be fine. And I would be happy of those, for her to not even have to come to this board, would be my opinion.
I mean, typically any exterior modification to the building requires this board's approval, but I mean, you could argue that in this case, it's repair, not a new.
If it stays green.
Yeah, if it stays green. But the point was, if it was the same as the building color,
Or the trim. Isn't that trim kind of white and it has some white posts underneath the awning?
it does appear to have white post, yeah.
I would just, if she doesn't like the green, I have no problem with the awnings there. They've been there forever. That if she wants to use the white, the building color, or the green, and just if staff approved that it was a good match to those, I would be fine with that.
It'll never stay white if it's a can.
Yeah, I was gonna revisit
Stay
the
white.
white just to make sure we're comfortable with that, but I just threw it out as a possibility.
Well, certainly over time it would fade with the floor, but that's any,
Well, it would become green.
with the
But
Florida.
the green's gonna over time look rough too.
Yeah.
With the Florida sun, it's always
Well, I mean,
gonna
but that's the challenge with all awnings, with all kind of fabric, it's just a maintenance, year, so.
Well, I mean, you can put that in motion and we can make it work.
Yeah, I kind of do agree that, I mean, the darker color might be the better option.
I'm fine with that, just throwing it out as an option. That beigey tanny beige color.
Mm-hmm.
It'll get mildewed and, I mean, are they going to though? I mean,
But I mean, the green turns light green over time, so any awning requires, in my opinion, every awning requires maintenance on the part of the owner or tenant.
I wouldn't do it if I were, I'd do something hard material there, but, okay.
If we just want to say the green color, or she would have to submit, I'm fine with that as well.
Well, I think technically she would.
Yeah, I don't think that we have,
But
I don't
if we put as a condition that if it's the building color,
do we have the ability to do that though? Because it would be an exterior modification.
yeah, but I think she's already coming to us
Yeah,
with
I
an
guess, and
exterior
it,
modification.
yeah, I guess you're right.
The question is, are we really comfortable with that color,
With the what color?
the building color?
Building
Building
color.
color?
Because it's gonna have the same mildew issue as the white, I think. It's a light color.
I'd rather see it be green, just replaced with what it was,
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
knowing it's gonna fade, but it's a fabric awning, like, I mean,
Any other discussion, or does anyone want to make a motion?
well, I mean, you have to make sure that it's a similar shade. I mean,
Yeah, and so that would be that would
Be
be
the same color.
be the same
Yeah.
color to match the metal roof, the is there. And I think Tim is capable of looking at the color swatch and seeing if it's a match or not.
Yeah, he had the
Yeah.
sample. I mean, we could actually put that.
Yeah, as long, and that's, I don't know about the wording. It kind of, because the one before did actually, does match. And so I would want to make sure that the wording for a condition would be that it was, yeah, verified by staff, that it matches the awning, or matches the metal.
Or do we just deny, and then if they want to do that, staff approves it? Because it's just a replacement of existing. Or do they even have to come to staff?
Tim, I mean, in my
I
opinion.
mean, we
is
can
that-
inform them of this,
Well,
but I don't know.
I
that it
think
needs to
you
be part
guys
of our
can make
motion.
that decision, whether you feel this is just a repair, and it's not technically an exterior modification, they're just repairing what was there. I mean,
Replacing the existing awning, I mean,
Yeah, and
well,
to me,
typically that does have to be approved. I
It
mean,
does?
when
If it's the same color?
When Carrabba's replaced those, I thought under the code that staff could approve that, and I did approve it, but Mac disagreed. It's like, no, that has to go to the design review board. So that one.
were they replacing with the exact same thing that was there, just, newer?
because we're
I-
talking about if she wanted to do the exact same green that was already there.
I think it was a slightly different color. The awnings were more or less the same. Because, they fade and whatnot. It's been a while ago, but I want to say it wasn't the exactly the same color as before. But it was in line with the building because Carrabba's has red trim on their buildings. And this was before, no, actually, it may not have been before. But I mean, I approved it with them more or less replacing what was there. Because, and you could argue, I guess that was, just a replacement because they fade and they wear out and, you replace them with new.
But here's another twist, since it's bent, the red is up, right?
Yes.
The red
it's-
is
it's
currently up,
there,
yeah.
yes.
So if, at this point, technically, if they went to green, it would be a modification. They went back to green, so do we base that on the
Well-
prior
Well, I
color?
think that
Sort of, but there's a code
it's a code
case,
issue, so
so.
they'd have to restore it to what it was,
Okay,
or,
all right.
is my opinion on it. I mean, I guess if that's,
I would agree with that as well. I mean, because there's a code case involved, it wouldn't be really a change.
Okay. So
Because
what
what's there is
tell
never,
us what we
what's
need
there
to
has never been approved.
Tell us what we need to do, technically, to be in compliance with how the code is and.
Well, I think the condition of color of the that swatch, we'll keep that. I'll use that as the sample, and you have
I would feel, I
staff
mean, I would feel comfortable
approve it.
not necessarily, unless you go match and make sure that green matches the roof. I mean, we just want to make sure.
Yeah, I would drive out there and make sure. I mean, the only way you're going to know for sure is actually
Looking at it,
compare
yeah.
it.
So in the request, it says requesting approval for an exterior modification to switch out the awnings.
Yeah, I didn't.
I mean, can't we just deny it, like Leah said? I mean, and that just gets rid of it, because we're not gonna let you swap them out to red. We've already made that decision.
Yeah, does that make it remain a code case then that has to be settled?
Yes, I don't think that resolves the code case. I mean, you could go either way on that, but I think if you deny it, I think that leaves the code case open.
If we deny it, then the remedy for the code case is her to restore it to what it was before she put up the awnings.
True, I think that's
So
true.
we get back to the same place.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's probably 6 of one, half a dozen of another. So I agree. I think you go either way.
Should we ask the applicant what their preference is? I mean, is there more work involved for their client, one way or the other?
I don't think so. I think it's,
Same
like it.
result. If they're restoring it to the green, that doesn't come to us again. it
Yeah,
only
I think
comes to
you're
us
right.
again- It only comes to us again.
You
if there's a
deny it,
different
and they
color.
resolve the code case through replacing it with what was the original color.
Or bring back a different
Or,
option.
right, or
at
bring back a
different-
different option.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
I hope the landlord works.
Well, and this
Absolutely.
didn't come up, but I think they're also doing their tenants a disservice by not getting a master sign plan for this plaza.
Absolutely.
They absolutely are.
100%.
Yeah.
No, I cannot imagine why they would not want to.
One of the few shopping centers along Highway 98 that does not have one.
Back, just as a side, kind of side question to that, but if they had a master signage plan, they would have their building signs, would they not be able to have hanging perpendicular signs under that walkway?
If they put it in their master sign
be
plan,
able to
yeah.
have that, so it-
Because Silver Sands has it, Grand Boulevard, and the shops at
They
Sandestin.
could really
They all,
give all of their tenants that additional signage they want if they would take that step. Okay.
yeah.
They would just have to create a master sign plan. It'd be an application
Has to be approved.
to this
Yeah,
board
so
that
you,
would be
you
approved.
need the application text, you have to have the text for the master, and then graphics. So you would have to show the building sign. Typically, they show the monument sign as well. The monument sign isn't replaceable under the master sign plan. It only applies to building signs, but you're supposed to show all the signage in, or at least, where it's going to go, what it's going to look like. So you would show where it's going to go over the individual bays. You would have to put a provision in there that if you have multiple bays, it has to be centered over those bays. But that's the gist of it.
And
And
all
that
of
way,
them,
any building sign that's going to get switched out does not have to come to this board. Staff can approve it based on your master sign plan. And one thing that some of them have is you have to provide the landlord approval up front when you submit them to us, like Grand Boulevard does that. All of them are like that, but that's an option. Either it's strictly staff approved, or the landlord has to approve it before you turn it into us. And personally, I like that idea because the landlord's looked at it, approved it, and they're okay with it.
and I'm sure Tim would be happy to talk with you outside of the meeting with that, but,
I don't think that would have affected
It would
this
not have affected
particular
this
situation,
discussion.
but it really needs to happen, in my opinion, my humble opinion,
all right, so
everybody involved.
anyone want to take a shot at a motion for 3?
Motion to deny, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'll make a motion to deny item number 3, agenda item number 3.
We have a motion,
Second.
motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? None. Okay.
Yeah, that's why
Yes.
we did
Yeah.
that route.
So
to-
in order to alleviate the code case, it's my understanding that she would need to just replace it back with what it was,
So just replace it back to that exact same green, correct?
the green.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
This-
That's all. I
That
just
will
wanted-
remedy the code case. If she
Correct.
wants to try another color, she's always welcome.
She has to bring another
Come
color up
back.
there. Got it.
If she keeps the green, she doesn't have to come before this board.
Got it.
If she wants a different color, then she has to come. It kind of
Got it.
saved her that step of coming from
Got
this
it.
board.
Okay, I was just
She
trying
did
to
that.
relay the right information to her. So, all right, and I'll relay the other stuff to the landlord about the master signage plan.
Now, I mean, if you
All right.
think tonight 4 of the items were all in that same complex,
Yeah, I
and
know.
like, there's a lot of signage things, so
Yeah,
a lot of that, like Tim said, unless when Grand Boulevard, or even like Silver Sands, you think how many places there are? They move tenants all around. We don't ever see that.
got it.
The
makes
only
sense.
time is if they want to amend their master plan is when they ever have to come before this board.
Got it. Okay. Sounds good to me. Can I get those back, or y'all keep
Yes.
those? Okay.
And then just one note before we adjourn. We are still getting applications for our vacant property owner seat and our vacant design professional seat. I don't think there's been any movement on any of the applications that have been submitted yet, but we still do have the 2 open seats. If everyone would please make a point to confirm or deny their attendance with Karen, maybe before lunchtime, on day of. That'll save all of you guys that are driving from across the bay, the drive time if we don't have quorum, or if I'm not here since I'm the current design professional. So if y'all could just, I'd hate, it got a little hairy last month with just the four of us, and I didn't want to waste anybody's time.
And to clarify on the vacancies, it's a design professional and an affected property owner seat.
I believe that's correct. That's correct? Mhm.
And also to clarify, because I'm gonna try to put the word out in some ways. Design professional, what qualifies as a design professional?
They were listed in the application, so it's
I think
architect.
it's architect, landscape architect, planner. I think
Planner.
that's what's listed.
Certified.
Certified.
Engineer?
Was that? I think when they advertised it, they put, just,
I know those three are in there. Architect, landscape architect, planner. It may have engineer as well. But we did look it up.
okay.
And we've had this discussion before, but why can't Jonathan become the other design professional that's vacant, right?
What is
What are you now?
what is your seat?
Affected property owner, because they said
Because
this is
affected
harder to
property
fill.
owners are usually harder to fill than
Okay.
design professional seats.
Yeah,
So if-
true,
if
because
we
any-
need- Yeah,
yeah,
if we needed to
okay.
do that, then that is probably something that they could do.
If it came up.
If it,
to do- okay.
but it usually is harder to fill the
I would
affected
agree,
property owner.
yeah. that's
Yeah,
true.
if necessary, we could absolutely do that. We could shift the
Okay.
seats.
So,
Yeah, the affected property owner is definitely the hardest one to fill.
So architect,
Landscape architect,
Architect.
planner. She's looking it up to see if it says anything else. So
Okay, so just-
engineers as well.
any kind of engineer?
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's probably, that probably needs to be changed, just technically to make sure. Certified, all right, got it, thank you.
All right, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you. Yeah. That is a great question, because I would really, really, really hate to see you require an AICP.
Doesn't say certified planner.
Okay,
It
doesn't
just
say
says
certified